Hello everyone, welcome back to Lila Loves to Cook. The Hot Mess Express is back into town. Choo choo. Today I'm doing a makeup tutorial. Well, I don't know if necessarily a makeup tutorial, but I wanted to do more of like a get ready with me and give you a little bit of story time in there as well, so you learn a little bit about me. As you know, I just finished saying I look like a hot mess. I'm fresh out the shower. Today's date night for me and my husband. Yes, you know how that goes. But so you're gonna get a full glam look today, not this. This is 42. I mean, it is what it is. We're gonna embrace it. So I'm gonna show you how I go from this to the wonders and magic of makeup. I got out the shower and I was like, do I really want to do this? I'm like, you know what, I will. Because some of us don't realize how important makeup is. Some of us don't need it. And then there's people like me that's like, if I don't have it. I wear it all the time. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, just follow along. I'm going to get started with my eyebrows. My eyebrows are microbladed, but if you see, I'm getting, my hair is finally starting to grow in. So it's throwing off the color a little bit. No worries. I'm just going to put a very little bit of powder in there and we'll be good to go. So I wanted to give you a little bit of story time. I was having a conversation with my daughter. She's 20 earlier. And people are always telling me that I should write a book. Like, I can't tell you how many people in my family, and if you hear music in the background, my husband's getting ready. Like, he acts like he's going to the prom. So he's getting all hyped up to go out for a couple drinks. So anyways, if you walk the mile in my shoes, you might as well just cut your legs off because you may not make it. You know, I've been through hell and back in life, and people are always telling me like, oh, you should write a book. So I'm just using this thin little brush, and then I'm using this LA Girl Brow Kit in medium by LA Girl, and it looks like this. And I'm just going to use this darker color, and I just tap it in very little, and I'm just going to go in and just fill in the parts that are scarce without touching this, because I don't want it to look like really dark. I want it to look more natural, and this will start blending out once my brows start growing in. Then I'll be okay, and I won't have to do this anymore. There you go, that one's done. All right, so like, let me go back. Like I was saying, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and we were talking about like my life and my channel, and she says it too. She's like, Mom, she makes me feel good because she literally says, you're the strongest woman I know. You've been through so much shit in life and you still like laugh. And she's like, you should do a story time. And then she starts laughing. She goes, you've escaped death so many times. And I'm like, it's kind of dark and dreary to say, but it's true. So story time. How many times have I escaped death? Let me not even get started. So, you know, a lot of people, you see things on the news and you're like, oh my God, if that ever happened to me. Well, what triggered this conversation between my daughter and I, and they're done, is we just got back from vacation. We got back from Florida. We went to go see my cousins and my aunt. And on the way back, we hit some really bad turbulence to the point where we had a drop and the whole plane was like, and I'm the type of person that I know where I'm going when I die. I'm going to the Golden Gates. I'm a really good person. I know, and if you don't believe in, you know, God or whatever, hey, to each his own. But I'm just saying, me personally, I know where I'm going. So I don't get scared too much like some people. I do have fears, don't get me wrong. But I don't get them to the, oh, sorry. This is the NYX Professional Makeup. It's the skin tone like concealer. And I'm going to just use this thin Eco Tools brush. And I'm just going to line out my eyebrows, just so I get a cleaner look. Okay. So we get on the plane, we're on our way back, and we hit some serious turbulence. Like I said, to the point where there was a drop where literally everybody on the plane was like, ah! And I was just like, okay. You know, there's nothing I can do. I can't park the plane. And I turn around and I look at my husband, who's usually the one I look to for protection. Well, this day I was like, well, I guess we're going down together. He's 6'3", about 280 pounds. He looks like a security guard. I always tell him he looks like a bouncer. But you could see that he was a little scared. And he was just like, I'm like, okay, I can't count on you. Then I turn around and look at my daughter, who's 20 years old, who I've sheltered to a certain extent. Like, I grew up in the streets of Chicago. And if you've heard anything about Chicago, you know, it's a beautiful city, but there's a lot of BS that happens. And unfortunately, I've experienced some of that BS. So my daughter has not grown up that way. We moved out to the suburbs when she was a little girl because we wanted to give her a better life than what we had. So I turned around and looked at her, and the girl is straight hyperventilating. She's like, and like crying, and I'm just like, it's okay, it's okay. Now, disclaimer, my daughter's 20 years old. I do get anxiety. So I gave her a very small amount of Xanax. Don't judge me. If you're having a panic attack in the air, there's really not much you can do. So I gave her a very small amount to help her calm down. And the rest of the flight, she was very tense, but that helped her relax a little bit. Now I'm going to use this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil Crayon, and it's in white. And all I'm going to do is with the same brush, I'm going to tap it. It's very creamy. So anyways, going back, you know, she really was losing her mind. She really was scared. She really was worrying. And so that's what prompted this conversation with my daughter. It's like, Mom, like, you cheated death. So in essence, the plane didn't go down, thank God. But I've had so many near-death experiences that things just don't really scare me like they do to other people. And laughter to me is my self-defense mechanism. Like, it's what keeps me going. If you're with me, people will tell you, I've literally been told by people, like, I will make you laugh to the point where your face hurts. And sometimes I laugh about things that people are like, you really went through that and you're laughing about it? Yes, I am. What else can you do? I would say if you live, you laugh. If you've laughed and loved, then you've lived. Basically, that's my motto. So we started talking about things that I've been through, and she knows things that I've been through. I'm very open and honest with her. And let me just give you another instance where I actually had a true near-death experience. I would say it's near-death. Some may say I'm exaggerating, but to me it is. So before I got pregnant at 22. And now what I'm going to do is, see that? It looks crazy. What I'm going to do is with the same brush, I'm going to brush those hairs, brush that down like this. And I'm going to blend it out in a minute with another brush. So before I got pregnant with my daughter, one day in Chicago, I had a big, like, gold chain. Who was I? And I forgot that I was wearing it. And my cousin had asked me to go take a walk with her to her apartment so she could pick something up. I don't remember. So it was a Saturday morning. No, more like Saturday afternoon. 2 o'clock in the city, in a very busy area, very busy neighborhood. So it wasn't like we were in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't like, you know, nobody saw what happened. So I'm walking down the street with her, again, not realizing I have this big chain. And like, again, who am I wearing this stupid big chain? I don't do that anymore, but this was me being young, ignorant, and stupid. So I go and I walk with her, and we get to this corner. And when we get to the corner, oh, sorry, I'm looking for a brush. All right, now I'm going to use this brush. I don't even know where this brush came from. It's a two-sided brush. I'm going to use this part here, and I'm going to blend this out. And so we're walking, and as we're walking, I see these two guys drive up in a car, and it's like early spring, so people are driving with their windows open. And I'm like, you know, I'm a pretty girl, especially back in my heydays. And so is my cousin. So I'm like, oh God, here we go. These guys, they're driving up, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. These guys are gonna try to talk to us. You know, me and my conceited self. And they drive off, and I'm like, okay. All right. Let me blend out the top that I did earlier. So I pay no attention to what they're doing. And I keep walking. Now, I always look around. This is what makes me cringe at the fact that I even had this. See how I blended that out so you don't see that harsh line? Okay. There we go. Look at my mask knee. 42. These damn masks, look, I know, don't come for me as to why we wear masks, but if they could just, you know, if I could create a mask that doesn't create mask knee, I'd be a rich woman right now. All right, so we're walking, and I'm street smart, so I always turn around, look, and see who's walking behind me, and I see one of the guys from the car, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, so literally it happened like within seconds. I turn around, I see him, and I look at my cousin, and I'm like trying to look at her to the extent like, let's cross the street. Mind you, there's bumper to bumper traffic. So before I could even say anything to her, and now I'm going to use this e.l.f. hydrating primer, and I just use very, very, very little, and I'm going to put it on my eyelid. So before I could even say anything to her, it's like seconds flash by because I don't remember how this happened. I look, I hear my cousin like, Lila, give it to him, give it to him. And I'm like, give him what? What? And I look down, and the jerk has a gun to my stomach. He wanted my necklace. Really? You had to put a gun to my stomach? So I took the necklace, like when I finally came through and realized what was going on, I took the necklace, I pulled it, and I pulled it off, and I threw it. So the guy runs off. I mean, honestly, like, I think the necklace, my husband, who was, you know, my boyfriend at the time, he may have paid like $300 for it. Really? Like, you had to use a gun? I mean, truly, you could have just asked for it. I would have gave it to you if I felt that threatened, you know? So anyways, I threw the necklace. He runs away. And then Billy Badass in me comes back and says, you're a piece of shit. Like, I just yelled, like, you're a piece of shit. Like, it's people like you that bring our people down. Like, we're supposed to be, like, here I am preaching after he just put a gun to my stomach and saying, like, we're supposed to be uplifting each other. And then, I mean, honestly, now I look back, I'm like, why didn't you shut the hell up? But I guess I figured I had to mess with his conscience. So that's another time that I had a near-death experience. So now my eyes are primed, and I'm going to use this It Cosmetics Dirty Fluff Crease Fluffing Brush, whatever the hell you call it. And I'm going to use, let's see, I don't know what look I'm going for today. I know I'm going for like total glam, but I don't know what look I'm doing. So I'm going to use this Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. My daughter bought this for me last year for my birthday. Love it. Look how pretty. Okay, and I'm going to use the color Morgan. So I'm going to use the color Morgan. And actually, do I use Morgan or Morning? No, I'm going to use Morgan. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with my brush, and I'm going to cover my whole lid with this up into my crease, and I'll show you what I want to do. So that was the first time that almost happened. Oh, it's cute. Look, I'd never used this color. It's like a nice, like a peach, soft peachy color. So another time, cheated death. These stories, they're gonna get a little dark. This one it's pretty bad. Well, it's not as bad as the next one. So we had came from my mother-in-law's house, who lived about 10 minutes away from our house. Now, we lived in a fairly decent neighborhood. We didn't live in a bad neighborhood. And just a tip, if you're putting eyeshadow on, do not brush it on. Like, you should be pushing it into your lid. See? Like, just pushing it in. I can't stand when I see people who, you know, they're starting out and they're brushing that eyeliner. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should either use a brush like this and push it in, or you can use something for your lid. Like, let me see. Something for your lid like this brush and push it in. But you definitely should not be brushing it on. So let's do our other eye in Morgan. So we were leaving my mother-in-law's house, and it was my husband, myself, my brother-in-law in the back seat, and then in the front seat was one of our friends and his girlfriend. Now, his girlfriend was from like the suburbs. She is very sheltered. Is not used to city living. Is not used to being aware of her surroundings or anything like that. So we're driving home, and I see this dirty car driving in front of us, and he went around twice. So I'm just gonna pull this lightly because I feel like it's not getting stuck in that part of my eye the way it should. Okay, there you go. Perfect. It's probably because the little tiny wrinkles, you know, get stuck in there. Okay, so he's, you know, I see this dirty car, and like my husband, I gotta give it to him because he is always aware of his surroundings. He knows, hey, that car went around twice, or like, it never fails with him. So we see this really dirty, I mean, when I say dirty, I mean like mud. I'm like, where is this guy coming from? We live in Chicago. Like, there's nothing like that. I'm like, it's not like it was a Jeep that you go off-roading. No, it was a car. So he turns off, and then we see him come back around. I'm like, okay. So then all of a sudden, we're on the corner. So we're driving, and here's the corner here. So the car comes back around, and he parks. And I'm like, okay. And we're like stuck at a stop sign. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a stop sign. And I look, and I see a guy get out the car. Now, my passenger seat would be the guy's girlfriend in the front seat. I'm right behind her. So we're on the right side of the car. And I see a guy get out the car. He has his hoodie on. Young kid. He has his hoodie on. And as soon as he gets out the car, he takes the strings to his hoodie and he pulls it down. Now, I'm like, oh shit, something's about to pop off. Now, we are just minding our business. It's not like we're out there doing stupid shit, trying to get this attention. We are like nobodies. You know, we're just doing what we're doing. He comes out the car. Like I said, he pulls his strings down. I look at my husband. My husband throws me down. He throws his body on top of us. No, before that happens, I see the gun. I see him getting ready to pull out the gun. I look at my husband. He pushes me down, throws me under him. And then the girl just freaks out. And then the guy that's driving, he freaked out. Like, he froze. And we're like, drive, you know, like, and he's just like, everything's okay. I'm like, what the, like, seriously? Like, I'm not trying to curse, but seriously, that was a moment. I mean, seriously. So he shoots at the car, and it hits the passenger on the right side. So it hits her door. But the guy was close enough that he could have shot us, like killed us, no problem. Like, he was really close. So I feel like it must have been like some kind of initiation mission or something. I don't know. So now I'm going to pick the color Glory. So it's this pink color. It's really pretty. And I'm using this Smashbox. It just came in a palette. And so it has two sides, a soft side and then a hard side. I'm going to use the hard side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up my crease. So I know my eyes look crazy right now, but I don't know if you've seen my other makeup tutorial. I said makeup always looks bad until you're done. So I'm going to go into my crease with this, and I'm going to push in to my crease. Okay. Just push in. Okay. Hey. Nah, I've seen girls walk around like this. So anyways, long story short, the guy finally drives off. We make it home because I'm here to tell the story, obviously. We call the cops, but really in Chicago, it's almost like pointless because a lot of times they steal these cars so they could do stupid shit like that. And then by the time the cops find them, they're gone. So it's another time I had a near-death experience. Now the last one is very sad because I'm not old enough. I wasn't old enough to really know what was happening, but it's a really messed up situation. So if you don't know me, I mean, first of all, I'm an open book. So I have no problem talking about my life, where I'm from, my background, anything like that. Because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that need that kind of uplifting. Like, they need to know that it's okay to go through stuff and still make it on the other side. I'm a perfect example of that. I'm not perfect. I'm using this Luxe 229 taper blending brush, and I'm just going to blend out. So I want that hard line on my crease, but not out here. So I'm going in and I'm pushing, kind of like pulling it out. Okay. So I have, because I want to keep that line there, but I want to have the pink shadow at the outside. All right. So where was I? So like I said, I'm an open book. If you have a question, if there's something you're going through in life and you feel like you can't talk about it, a lot of times people come to me for advice or just to kind of like, connect, because they know that I've been through so much crap in my life. Like, and sadly, it was not really anything that I wanted or that I did to bring it on. It's just, I had a somewhat rough childhood, and I'm finally in a place in my life within the last, 20 years that, I wouldn't say 20, I would say more like 10, 15, that things are much easier. But because I've been through so much crap, I know what it's like to get out of it too and tell those stories. So I'm adopted. When I was born into from what I gather, into a marriage that was kind of forced. My mom and dad, my real mom, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, but my real mom and my dad, they're very different. Like, I don't know how the hell they got together. Like, my mom is, my real mom, my birth mom. She is, she's evil, conniving, narcissistic. Like, I always make a joke, and people who know my mom, like, say it's true. You ever watch that show Snapped? Or The First 48? I wouldn't doubt if one day she's on one of those shows. Because she's like, she's crazy, and she's just not a good person. Let's put it that way. But my dad, on the other hand, my dad's great. But he's also very different than her. So I still don't understand how they got together because, like, my mom is very Americanized. I'm Puerto Rican. My mom and dad were born in Puerto Rico, but my mom is very Americanized. My dad has a lot of what I get from my culture is from my father and from my grandmother, my mom's mom. Because my dad still keeps those traditions. My real mom, I mean, not really. And then my grandma did as much as she could. Like, as far as the food goes and everything, I get that from her. But anyway, so when they got married, like, I really don't think that was a marriage of love. I think my dad said that, like, the best thing that came out of that marriage was his kids, like my brother and I, which I believe. Because outside of that, I don't know why they would be married. They're so different. And yeah, I refuse to believe that my mother was any different back then than she is now. So anyways, they get married. And the stories that I've been told, I'm going into this Too Faced Natural Matte palette, and I'm going into the color All Natural. Look, you can tell I love the crap out of this palette. I'm going to rebuy it. I've rebought this palette like 5 times. And I like using this color as transition color. So I'm going into that one, and I'm going to blend out this up here. Okay? Because it's got a harsh line and I don't want that right now. I'm still not done with my eyes. Actually, I don't even know where I'm going with my eyes, but follow along for this train wreck. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. So, I don't ever recall living with my parents. My mom apparently wasn't a fit mom. My dad, from what I gather, he stated that I'd always been with my grandmother, who was a single parent, and he felt bad taking us from her because we were always with her. My brother, I think, was with her from birth. I don't know about when I went with my grandmother first time. But I have a lovely, lovely, lovely souvenir from my mother. So, here's where it gets dark. You see this scar here? Kind of looks like a leaf. I look at it, sometimes it makes me sad. Sometimes I'm like, I say it's a leaf because it shows leaves grow and change colors. And I feel like it's a resemblance of my life because I've been through so much. But honestly, when I look at it, it's a constant reminder of a woman who sucked. Okay. So what I was told, and I'm going to give you the short version of this, is my mother was very jealous. And I'm going into the color of heaven. What I was told is my mother was very jealous of me. I don't know if she was, and I'm just using it as a transition color again. And so I'm going under my brow and then blending out this color right here, like this part right here. So what she had, I was told she was very jealous of me. Very jealous. That's my way of cleaning off my eye. And if you're not familiar with doing makeup or not really sure what to do, try to do your eyes first, because some colors have a lot of fallout. So you don't want to, if you do your face first and then you do your eyes, where do you think that's going to go? It's going to go on your face. So you don't want that if you've already done your face makeup. So I do my eyes first. All I know is that she put me on the stove to burn me. Yes. So, look, we're getting dark here. Makeup and stories of my mother trying to kill me. But like I said, I've escaped death. And this one was probably the worst. So what I was told was that there was milk being heated up for me, for my bottle. That she wanted it for her coffee. And I don't know what happened, but somehow she was holding me and she put me on the stove purposely. And I believe this story because I was also told that if at any point, my father and my mother got into arguments or anything like that, that she would threaten to kill my brother. Or when she was pregnant, she threatened to throw herself down the stairs. She would never admit to any of this, but I know damn well it's true because I've seen so much crap about her, and there can't be that many people lying. You know what I mean? So when I was around 15, and from what I was told, after that, a moment, my grandmother made it a point that she would never, allow my brother and I to live with her. And I understand, why didn't she call the cops? Or it was a different time, and my grandmother was still a mom, was still her mother, so I'm sure it wouldn't have been easy just to lock up your daughter. I understand. Don't get me wrong, I understand. Because for me, I would have been like, why didn't she call the cops? But I get it, that's her daughter. It was hard for her. I don't blame her. Where was I going with this? So when I turned 15, I had questions. I was like, is this true? These are stories that I've heard, why do I have this scar? and I would ask people questions, and I'd get very similar stories, but very different versions of the similar story, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go over this color here with a different color, because it's just, this is the first time I'm using that color, and it's not giving me the, like, see, it's coming off on some parts, and it could be just the color. So I'm gonna go over it with another color just in case. And I'm gonna use my Too Faced Peachy Sweet Peach palette. And when it comes to makeup, I use anything. It could be drugstore, it could be brand name, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna use the color Georgia, which is a light color. Actually, you know what, I'm gonna use the color Caramelize instead. It's a peachy color too. So I asked her, and I said, oh, look, that's pretty. It's pretty much the same color, except it has a little bit of pearl in it, or metallic, I should say. So I asked her, and I said, hey, I have a question for you. Like, you know, I get all these stories about how I got this mark, and, you know, I just wanted to ask you, like, how did I get this mark on my arm? So, you know what she told me? She told me, it went back to the milk story, and she said, oh, I was boiling milk, and I was holding you, and you stuck your arm into the pot. And very quickly, she forgot that I'm no dummy, because I literally looked at her, and I was like, I have a question for you. I said, if that was true, then how come my whole arm didn't burn? Just this part. If you're sticking your arm in a pot, wouldn't I have a burn in my whole arm? Well, apparently she didn't have anything to say, and she walked away. So that's the story of that, because apparently my mom tried to kill me. My real mom. And so anytime I'm talking about my mom in a video, I'm actually talking about my grandmother. So if it's something beautiful and endearing and I love her to death, that's my grandmother. If it's, this bitch is crazy, that's my birth mother. There's a difference. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a dark color into my crease and give it more of a cut crease look. All right, so now I'm going to use this Royal Langnickel Omnia Balm 18 detail brush. That's a lot to put in one brush. They couldn't just say, like, brush. I don't know. And I'm going into the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. And I'm going to use the color Triple Fudge, which is over here. And I'm going to cut my crease with this. So the same thing I did earlier, but except this is going to be another layer. So right on top of that pink, I'm going to go right into my crease. And I'm going to push in. But I'm not going to do it so thick, because this is just to give my eyes some definition. Okay? So you're going to go in. And you kind of like push in and push it out. Look at that. See that? All right. Beautiful. See what a difference that makes? It gives you more definition in your eye. All right. You see this beautiful scar here? Almost looks like an extra eyebrow. What do you think it is? Did I cut myself? Was I born with it? Was I in the custody of my mother who wasn't watching me and the table fell on my head? Guess which one? The last one. You got it. Okay. So, let's start this one here real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. And let me finish this.
We're doing it today, girl. You have to really go like full glam. But today I kind of felt like it, and I kind of felt like sharing it with you, so that's what we're doing today.
Look at that. Look at that. Yes. This don't worry about, because you're going to clean that out. All right. So, One day when I was 5, the lady who birthed me, who shouldn't have been blessed with fallopian tubes, she begged my mother, my real mother, not my brother. She begged her, and I'm just buffing this out just a little bit to give it more transition. For me to go with her to the laundromat. And I remember my grandmother had me in the cutest wool peacoat with a matching hat. I don't know where I was going. Like, look at me with my wool peacoat and my hat. But I remember it was so cute. It was new. And I was dressed up that day for no reason. But you know how us Hispanics do. We go dressed up to the laundromat. We don't care. So, my grandmother had initially said no. She told her no, you know, I don't want her to go. I remember this conversation. She told her no, and she's like, oh, come on, you don't let me take her anywhere, for a good reason. So after they complained for a little bit, and because my brother was going and my aunt was going, which my aunt I consider my sister. That's a little bit more confusing, but she knows who she is because she supports me. Hey, Nana. So anyways, she was going to. So I wanted to go because I'm like, oh, go to the laundromat. You know, there's little machines where you get toys and candy and whatever. So I wanted to go. So my grandmother was like, all right, fine. She could go. Just make sure you keep an eye on her. Well, that's the part that she messed up on because she didn't keep an eye on shit. All right, I'm going to show you the different products that I like to use in my eyes. I'm going to do a bat wing eyeliner, but I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. I've been doing bat wing eyeliner before it became a cool Instagram thing to do. So I'm very well versed on it, who am I? But I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. So I usually do it the traditional way, but if you don't have a steady hand and it's hard for you, I'm going to show you what to do. And I'm going to show you that you can do this with like products that aren't expensive too. So one way you can do it is if you're really good at makeup and you have a steady hand, you can use, don't look at that, but you can use a liquid eyeliner with a tip like this. But it's hard with this because this just isn't as easy to control. Okay. I'm not going to use this today because I want to show you how to do it in an easier way. Okay. What I like to use if I'm in a rush is I use a pointed, there you go, a pointed liquid liner. So I have this one, the It's Superhero Liner, and I have the NYX Epic Ink Liner. And they are both pointed edges. See? They both work fine. But I'm not going to use those by themselves because I'm going to show you how to do this the easy way. Now, what you want is a gel eyeliner. Make sure it's gel. Make sure that it glides really easy. So this is the Lottie AM to PM. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. AM to PM liner. It's in black. Okay. It's got eyeshadow on it, so that's why it looks like that. Or you can use the NYX Professional Retractable Eyeliner in black. Again. Or I also have the KVD Beauty Cake Pencil in black as well. And I got this in my Ipsy box. This is the one I want to use today. I'm going to use this one with the It liner. So I'm going to show you, I know I still owe you the story I was working on, but I'm going to show you how to do this first, and then we'll get back into the story, because if you've ever done liquid liner, you know damn well that everything has to be really quiet. It's like practice, it's like praying. It's like you have to be in the moment. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my gel liner, and I'm just going to make a line from my left to my right. Also, if you're doing Batwing eyeliner, you want to do it before you put your eyelashes on and before you put your mascara on. I very rarely wear eyelashes, but today I'm where I am because I'm like, look at me, who am I? I'm going out. So because it tends to make it more stiff when you're trying to glide around it and the hairs get in the way. And just do this first. Okay. And if you feel that the eyeshadow gets in the way of doing this, then maybe do your eyeshadow up until a certain line where you want the line at, and then just fix it later. So let's do this first. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to glide my pencil over. I'm not going to do down here closer to my line. I'm going to do that later. I'm basically doing a line to guide me. Okay, so let me do this. And just pull slightly. Don't pull hard, because guess what? You'll get wrinkles before your time. So pull slightly. And you're only pulling slightly because some of us old girls, some of us golden girls, we have little tiny wrinkles on our eyelids. Some of us that are young have it too. But if you pull, it gives you a smoother line to work with. So pull slightly. And okay, there's your guide. Okay, and sometimes this is easier to do if you don't have primer or eyeshadow. So that's why it says, if you feel that this is hard for you, then take your eyeshadow up until here, and then you have space to do your eyeliner and there's no product under it. I'm fine either way, but some people it may be too hard. Okay, let's do the other one. And again, we're just going to pull slightly. And the reason I use gel pencil is because it glides easier. Okay, let me darken the other one a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your liquid eyeliner, and don't forget, I haven't forgotten about the laundromat story. I'm going back to that in a minute, but I want to do this without messing up. So, what I do is I go from the line of my eye here up to about here. But I don't do just a straight line. I kind of just curve it a little bit, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. There you go, see? And then I'm gonna carry it over. Okay? So now I have a tail. We have to fill that in. We're going to, but I'm just showing you how to do the tail on it. The most important thing is that your eyeliner looks like it's related. They don't have to be twins, but you don't want them to be stepsisters where they don't like each other. Well, one's over here and one's over here. One's up here, one's down there. Make sure they look related. All right. So let's go ahead and do the other one. And this one's just a little bit longer than this one. So I'm going to extend that one out. Because again, I want them to look related. Just a little bit. Okay, so now we are going to take our black liner. I'm just going to run my fingers over it because it's got eyeshadow on it. Just so it gives it more of a cleaner look. And I'm going to fill in that space. See that? I want to fill that in. And the reason I do this is because I don't know if you saw my other makeup video. But my eyes are super sensitive. And sometimes what happens is when I put makeup by my eye like that, it makes it water when it's a liquid. Okay, I'll fix that tail in a minute. And you see this little part here? I'm going to show you how to fix that. That was just, there was some makeup on the tip of this and it kind of broke off. So I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. And sometimes I will go over with my liquid liner and sharpen the look. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, but that's a risk. Because sometimes I'm fine and sometimes I sneeze when I do it. So I don't know if I'm going to do that yet today. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. See how I'm feeling. Okay. So, just sew this in here. I think I'm going to use my NYX, and I think it's time for a new liquid liner because it's like drying out. All right. See that? Okay. So there's a very small part that's gonna bother me that's smudged there. But like I said, I'm gonna show you how to fix that. So remember the concealer that we used in the beginning on this brush? There's still some white on it. Let me get it off of there. Okay. I'm gonna clean my brush and I'm gonna dip just the edge of it. And I like to call this an eraser, because I do this a lot. If I mess something up, I just use this to fix it and restart it or whatever. So I just put very little on there. I stretch my eye, and wherever I want that to look different, I clean it up like that. Okay, now you got a little line on it. Nay, nay, I will fix that. Then we're going to go back into the color that we initially put on our lid to begin with. That peach color. With the same brush. Okay. Put a little bit on the tip and just go over it. There you go. Beautiful. Okay. So let's go back to our laundromat story, because, you know, we don't want to be all kind and, you know, lighthearted over here. We want to bring a little bit of doom into my channel, apparently. So I go to the laundromat. There's this big, giant folding table. And I'm talking about the one that has, like, spaces underneath to store stuff. And these two kids are playing on the table. These are Kiss. Looks So Natural. Professional tapered and I don't know. Lashes. I'm not big on lashes. I've been starting to get into them, but it's still a process for me. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these lashes on. Like I said, I'm not perfect when it comes to lashes. It's still new to me. As a matter of fact, I've had my daughter put on a few for me because I like the way it looks. I like a more natural lash for me anyway, and I love the way it looks, but they're not the easiest to put on. Like you're putting on a foreign object on your eyes. So we go to the laundromat. These 2 kids are playing on the table, and me and my, you know, beautiful burgundy wool coat, I'm just standing there watching the kids, and I'm like 5. I vaguely remember being 5. And there's a payphone behind me. My mother, instead of washing clothes, she was on the payphone. And then I remember my Aunt Nana, she was putting the clothes in a machine in front of me. So my mom's behind me, but my mom's like in the distance. And when I talk about my aunt, she's only 8 years older than me. So I see the table and it's starting to move, but I'm not smart enough to move out of the way. I'm 5. And all I remember is being on the floor, having like 5 big ass men trying to lift this table, and the table being in my head. Yeah, exactly. Then I still remember going to the hospital, and let me put these on. Hold on. Clearly there's gotta be an easier way to do this. I'm not a lash queen. These lashes will probably be gone. I'm taking off the glue, apparently. Like, I suck at this. So don't come here looking for lash. I never said I was a lash channel. Maybe that'll work. It says it dries clear. So we'll see. Yeah, because it dries clear. So let's see what happens. So, oh God, I feel like I have a foreign object on my face. Going back to my mother, I remember waking up in the hospital and them asking me, what color stitches do you want? And me screaming my head off. And then they're like, what color stitches do you want? And I'm like, are you serious? I had a table stuck in my head. This is me at 5. I'm using the Better Than Sex mascara. Don't do this. This brings bacteria into your mascara. And you go into the bottom and you pull up. So push it in and then up. Do not just brush it on, because you won't get the full effect of the mascara. You should be pushing it in and then up, because that will give you a lot of mascara in your root. Ooh, look at that. Hi. And then I always have a set of tweezers. Don't do this at home, guys. So if my hair is like stuck together and I want to move it, there you go. Okay. Let's do my other eye. Long story short, I needed a bunch of stitches. I've had migraines since I was a kid. I could have died. Hence the reason why I brought it up in this video. There was a lawsuit involved. And my sorry excuse of a mother at the time took all the money and took off to Jersey for a year and spent every penny of it. You know, I guess that's why I'm a really good mom, or I would like to think I am, because my mother sucked. Like, dude, she was just a horrible person. And I'm not trying to get into like the deep, there's a lot of shit that this woman has done to like me and the family, and I'm not gonna get into that today. You know, I would hope that at her age, she's in her 60s now, I would hope that her age she sits there and reflects on the shit that she's done to people. But honestly, I don't think so, because she's just not a good person. All right, the glue seems like it's drying. So this is our eye look so far. So let's work on, I'm serious, I need to work on lashes because I'm not good at lashes. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing. So let's work on the face, which this is actually the easy part for me. So for primer today, I'm going to use Smashbox, the original photo finish primer. And I think I finished my laundromat story. Yeah, she stole the money. There you go. Another near-death experience. I may have others. I don't know. But the point of the story is that I'm dropping everything. Wait, hold on. The point of the story is that, you know, don't ever, so just put a little bit, rub it up your face. Don't ever judge a person because you don't know what they've been through. I don't put this under my eyes only because I have really sensitive eyes and I tend to, like, sometimes my eyes water. And, like, this one especially is worse than this one. But sometimes my eyes water simply by putting stuff in that area. So I just refuse to do it so I don't have to deal with it all together. But the point of the story is, don't ever judge a book by its cover. You never know what that person has gone through. Don't wish bad on people because, truth be told, like, whatever you do in this life, I strongly believe that you will pay for one way or another. And I'm not saying this is right, but at 60 years old, she has no family around her. Give me 1 second. So I always have a glove because I wear, you know, acrylics. And when you use a makeup sponge, the makeup tends to get under there. And I think that's gross. So I just use a glove. And I'm going to bring out a ghetto dirty makeup sponge that I haven't cleaned. My beauty blender. I have a new one, but I don't want to open it. So I'm going to use the Superstay. I love this foundation. The Superstay Active Wear by Maybelline in the color Natural Beige number 220. It has up to 30 hours. And look at this face. It actually works. So this one's almost empty. I have another one. Let me get another one. So like I was saying, like in her 60s, she's all by herself. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying that karma always has a way of playing life out. And whatever you do in this life, and again, when you're putting foundation on, do not spread it. It's easier if you push it in, especially if you have deep pores like mine. It will give you a much smoother look. Also, I highly recommend that you put primer because primer, I like to think of it as the eggs when you're making fried chicken. If you just flour your chicken and you don't put eggs, what happens? The flour falls off. So the primer, I feel, is like the egg because it keeps the makeup in place. Like, it helps to set your makeup. So use primer. Get yourself a good primer. If you don't want to spend money, I do use on a daily basis on my face. I use this e.l.f. poreless face primer. I get it at Walmart for like $6, or I think this size is $10 and the smaller one's $6. So I use this on a daily basis. But if I'm going out, I'll use the Smashbox one because this one's $30. This one works better, but I'm not going to use this if I'm not going anywhere. It's $30. I don't want to run out of it, you know? So anyways, going back to the lady who birthed me. She, in her 60s, she's alone. Like, she doesn't really have family around her. The last time I seen her was in my mother's funeral. By my mother, I mean her mother, my grandmother. And that was in 2013, May of 2013. I have not seen or heard from her since then. And I'm okay with that. Because some people, you have to love from far. You really do. Despite everything that she's done or said, I don't hate her because it's not my job to hate her. It's not my job to resent her. It's not my job to feel sorry for her. It's my job to be a good person. Try to be as good of a person as I possibly can be. Try to live my life completely the opposite. Wow, I look like a mess. Completely opposite from who she is. And use it as an example. And karma obviously has a way of playing itself out because, like I said, she's by herself. She's continued to done some really bad things to people. And it is what it is. And those are my near-death experiences. Like I said, I probably have more, but these are the ones I can think of. So, anything else you want to know besides the fact that my birth mother sucks? Apparently, I like to play Final Destination with my life because crazy crap has happened to me. And when I say crazy crap, there's been other things. Oh, I can tell you one more. This one's actually funny. I look like Uncle Fester. So I never ever blow bubbles with bubble gum while driving. This is Final Destination stuff. This is a real quick story. So, any of you, by a show of hands, like to chew bubble gum? Not chewing gum, not juicy fruit, not double mint. We're talking about bubble gum. We're talking about Hubba Bubba, blow the big bubbles, all ghetto, like pop it back, clack. Yeah, that was me. Okay. About 10 years ago, I was driving home from work, and I'm pop it back, clack, clack. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So next, let me get into the story. I'm going to use the Infallible Pro Glow L'Oreal concealer in the color 1, which is Classic Ivory. I do have color to my skin, but the reason I use this is because I like to use this as a concealer and a highlighter. One of my favorite concealers that I love, but I can no longer use because remember I told you my eyes are sensitive, and it tends to run every time I put this on, is the Shape Tape concealer. Love this stuff. I can't use it. It makes my eyes run. This will look a mess by later. So anyway, I'm on the expressway. I'm waiting. Look at all that messy. Look like a hot mess. How old am I? Okay. So I'm on the expressway, popping my gum, you know, whatever. Think I'm the shit. I'm doing it. Pop back. Okay. Guess what happens to me? Only me. Oh my God, I have another experience I could tell you about. I'm just full of near-death experiences. While I'm driving, so traffic starts to start up again. While I'm driving, I pop them back. The whole gum came back. Okay? Not the piece that I'm holding on to, just the piece that I blew out and blew back. It went to the back of my throat. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, this is how I die. Because I couldn't, like, I literally couldn't. I'm like, oh my God, this is how I couldn't breathe. So I'm trying to pull over. I'm looking at other cars, but they're driving, like, you know, doing, you know, 65 or whatever, so they can't see me. So I'm trying to pull over, and I'm literally like, oh my God, this is how I die. I can't even talk because the gum is lodged in the back of my throat. So I have a piece of gum in my mouth, and I have a piece of gum, like, covering the back of my throat. And the whole time I'm like I'm trying to break the gum. Finally, I was able to break it, swallow what was in the back of my throat, and then get a little bit of air, and then kind of sit there and collect my thoughts and be like, oh my God, you almost died on the expressway. Final Destination. You ever see that movie Final Destination where crazy shit happens? Well, that was me. Another time on the expressway, so hence I don't chew gum. I chew gum, but I don't blow bubbles on the expressway anymore. I literally hardly ever buy bubble gum, but I was scared as shit. One more story for you that I just thought of. This isn't necessarily near death. This probably deserves an honorable mention. Look at me. Hey, look at me. So this is probably the last time that I went like clubbing. So my Aunt Nana, we call her Nana. I go pick her up. We have a good time. And I don't even know what brush this is, but it's a concealer brush. If you notice, I only took my foundation to right here, so I'm going to bring that down now and blend that out. Okay. So we have a good old time. We party. We dance. We had a good time. And then I take her home. She lives in the city. We're partying in the city. I'm driving home. Now, if you know me, I wasn't really drinking. I had like one beer. I don't drink and drive. My family knows that I get drunk like after one beer. So if I have a beer when I go somewhere or a cocktail, I'll have it very early on in the night. So by the time I'm getting ready to leave, I'm good. So I drop her off and I'm driving home. I live about 40 minutes outside of the city. And now I'm going to use this Real Techniques number 402 brush, and I'm going to set my eyes with this air spun in, I don't know if this has a color, translucent extra coverage. It's for my greasy face. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my eyes first. Then I'm going to put it on the rest of my face. And I really don't get any flashback from this. So if you're going to take pictures, I don't look like a hot mess. Look at all the dust I just put in the air from my makeup. Okay. So I drop her off. And I'm driving. And I'm feeling tired. I probably should have just stood at her house. Like, who am I? You know, married woman staying in people's houses. But I probably just should have. Like, my husband wouldn't have cared. Because I would have told him, like, hey, you know, I'm tired. I shouldn't drive. So I drop her off. I'm driving home. And I could see the toll booth in the distance. Like, probably like, I don't know. Like, I could see it, you know. So I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get into the I-Pass lane. That's all I remember. Because then, all of a sudden, I realized I fell asleep while I was driving. I get up, no lie, the toll booth is like there, like right there. Like, I would have crashed right into it. And I wasn't slowing down. So, like, I like... I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. But thankfully I woke up right in time. I like to think it was like my guardian angel that was like, girl, get your ass up. I can't cover you every time, you stupid. This is a Sonia Kashuk powder brush. And I'm gonna do my whole face now. And I know some people probably don't do this, and that's okay, but I do. Okay? Because I have a very greasy, I get extremely greasy when I go out. So in order to keep my face set, I will powder it. All right, so let's go back. I just thought of another one. Like, my daughter knows all these stories, and she's probably like, oh, you forgot this, you forgot this. Okay, another one. We're driving. I had a little Honda Fit, just bought it in 2010. Okay, we're driving home again from my aunt's house. We're going home, having a good time, spent the day with her. I was with my daughter. It's a quick story. And I see a truck. I'm getting on the expressway, and apparently he's trying to move like into the aisle that I'm going into, but he doesn't see me. Remember, I'm in a Honda Fit that basically looks like a remote control car to him. And I'm looking in my rear, like, oh shit, I'm on the phone. Like, I have the phone on speakerphone with my husband. And I'm like, oh my God, he don't see me. And that was the last thing he heard. Because then the truck clipped the back of my car. My car turned, went all the way to the other side of the expressway, and then came back. And I was like, I literally was like, that's it, I'm dead. This one I'm gonna die from. There's no way I'll make it from this one. Thankfully, the cars in the distance must have seen what I was going through in my car, that they all stopped, because none of the cars would have just hit me. Like, because I literally went from one side of the expressway to the other. And the whole time, now I'm going to use this Maybelline Fit Me powder in the color 100, which is just translucent powder. And I'm going to set my eyes and my face again with this. Because again, my face gets so greasy that you could fry french fries on it. No lie. Okay. The freaking truck took off on me. I had damage on the left side of my car, which I didn't care about. What I cared about was that I had my daughter in the back seat, and she was probably like 8 maybe at the time. This was before I started letting her go into my front seat. So she was probably like 7 or 8. And the whole time I'm like, oh shit, I hope my daughter's okay. Because she was quiet, and I'm just like, I know I'm okay. Did he hit the back of my car? Is my daughter okay? She was super quiet, but she was just like in shock. So that's the honorable mention story. Like, moral of the story, don't take any day for granted, because apparently any day above ground you should take advantage of, and take advantage of the opportunities. That's kind of why I started YouTube. I loved watching YouTube videos. Now I'm going to use this Laura Mercier in the color Ritual. It's the Baked Blush Bronze. And I'm just going to use this Eco Tools powder brush. And I'm going to do my jawline first. Okay. Under my chin. My cheek, or a portion of my cheek, I should say. Okay. Forehead. Going all out today, girl. But like I said, that's why I started YouTube. Because, do you hear my dog? Because I like to hear stories, and I like to hear where people came from and what they do and why. And I'm really enjoying my journey on YouTube. You know, I started my YouTube channel in December of 2020 when I first posted my very first video, which was Coquito, which is a Puerto Rican holiday drink. Let me do my nose. And the reason I did, I was like, you know what? I've been saying for years that I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Because apparently I like to talk, which I do. I think I have a lot to say. But honestly, like, I just enjoy watching people's channels, watching what they share with us. I'm going to use this NARS blush in the color, can you see that? Orgasm X. I hate the, I don't hate the color. I'm not prude. I don't hate the name of the color. It's just weird to say it on camera, like orgasm. It's like talking to my mom, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who's watching, so sorry, but it looks, I don't know what color, it kind of looks reddish, I don't know, but it's definitely a pinkish or peachy color. And I'm going to use this $1 billion brush. And I only use this for my blush, and I'm going to smile. That's how you should put your blush on. Don't worry, I'm going to blend this out. You should smile, find your cheekbones, and kind of just lightly tap it in. There you go. Do not do the 80s blush, guys. Let's go with the times. Okay. So now I look like a Hot Mess Express again. But again, I told you, until your makeup's done, do not judge. So I'm going to use this Eco Tools Giant brush. I don't know. You can find it at Walgreens. And I'm just going to, in a circular motion, blend that out. Blend out my face. Blend out my chin, blend out my forehead. And then lastly, I'm going to use a Real Techniques brush and just blend out my nose, just lightly, very lightly. Yo! Let's blend that out a little bit so I don't look crazy. Some people, they will ask me, like, how'd you learn how to do makeup? My mom, my birth mother, she used to sell Mary Kay for a very short time. It was a scam. She did it to steal the people's money who was putting orders in. And Avon. And she used to give, like, home demonstrations on how to do makeup. And I used to watch. But that's what made me like it. And then I just started slowly doing it myself. And I just fell in love with it. It was just one of those things that I enjoyed. I enjoyed watching, I enjoyed doing. And sometimes I would watch YouTube for the newer techniques. Like before I didn't have my eyebrows microbladed, I was just like, how do people do all those cool eyebrow looks? I'm looking for something to put on my lips. And that's how I learned how to do my eyebrows. You hear my dog? But that's really how I got into it. So let me do my lips, and we're gonna stay with this like pink type theme. So I'm gonna use this NYX retractable lip color in the color Nude Pink. This is Nude Pink. That shit don't look nude to me. It's okay though. Okay, then I'm gonna use this Kylie Cosmetics Velvet liquid. I don't know if it's liquid lipstick, I'm assuming, in the color Charm. It's going for a different color. I guess this will be fine. I wanted more pink. This is more peach, but it's okay. It's not bad. All right, so this is the look. Let me go to my hair, and then I'll come back and close out the video and show you what the final look looks like. Be right back. All right, so this is the finished look. I just did my hair in really big curls with a curling iron. Left it down. It's not perfect, but it'll be fine for where I'm going, what I'm doing. It'll probably sweat out anyway. But yeah, this is my finished look. Thanks for getting ready with me today. Lord knows it takes a village to raise a child, but for this face, it takes an army. And you seen what I went through. So like I said before, my last makeup video, take some time to take care of yourself, whether or not that's a little bit of lip gloss, some powder for your nose, or just simply some primer to make you feel refreshed. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate all the love and support I get on my channel. And like I always say, don't forget to smile. It looks good on you. Bye, guys.